Hello and welcome at Focus Trap, a digital accessibility podcast. My name is Tim Dame and I'm joined today by Rik Wouters, Ambassador Digital Inclusion at Bureau EDDI. Welcome, Rik.
Hi, Tim. Thank you for that I'm here.
Yeah, always welcome. Thanks for that you can take the time to join us live in Amsterdam. In the recording studio. For the people that don't know you yet that well, could you give a little bit more of an introduction of yourself?
Yes. So my name is Rik Wouters. I'm a Belgian guy. I'm living already for nearly 30 years in the Netherlands. And I'm blind at this point of time. I became blind after, a long period of time. Let's say after a period of 30 years, I totally became blind. And currently I'm working for my own company and also for other companies with regards to digital inclusion. That's in short. I'm 50 plus years old, and it's nice to share my experience here today.
Of course, yeah, that's what we are going to do. So what does digital accessibility mean to you?
Yeah, I expected already this question because I listened to your other episodes. So digital accessibility for me is one of the two conditions so that everybody can participate. If systems are accessible, then people can use all the systems. And this, maybe your other question will be, what is then the other condition? Is that the end users need to be able to use their tools. They need to be able to use Windows or their smartphones. And then especially for people with disabilities, they need to be able to use their assistive technologies. So if you're able, in my case, for instance, to use my screen reader good, and my apps are built accessible, then I can just participate like anybody else.
Yeah, and you've equal access to services and information, and be able to participate fully as well, also in the online world.
Sure,
Yeah. I think indeed this is a nice description, and that's what we are going to discuss: how to improve this connection to the online world for everyone. And how important is it for you that you can participate also online fully?
It is. I think it's very important because you, even if you're blind or have another disability, you're still a regular person.
Yeah.
You just have a limitation. Either you cannot walk, or you cannot see, you cannot hear. But I'm just a regular person. There's nothing wrong with me except that I do not use the computer on a regular way. I don't look at the screen, but I do everything with the screen reader. And we're living in a perfect time right now. As a matter of fact, I think, is it not approximately 30 years ago that Microsoft also started with their accessibility stuff with the Windows 95?
Yeah.
So right now we're 30 years later and operating systems are accessible. Right now we need to take the next step that also the other apps are accessible so I can just participate. I do not rely on other persons. I can do things independently. I can do shopping. I can book my journey with the public transportation myself. And that's really nice.
Yeah. And so this question, I have this question for a longer time now. Do you think that with the online world coming available, with the internet and with the technologies being available widely nowadays, is it more is it more accessible, or is it less accessible than without any technology?
I think that the major point here is that there are a lot of opportunities now.
Yeah.
Especially if you also see AI, accessibility, AI, everything. It's amazing that I can do everything independently. Let me take you back, let's say 30 years ago. Then accessibility was so new. And if you had a problem, you call a call center and then they fix it for you. And maybe you get the letter at home. But then the letter, imagine I'm blind at that time. I cannot read that letter. We did not have smartphones where you can take pictures with and then have it, analyzed. Hear the text to it, so it's read all out. Nowadays you get your bill electronically by screen reader, can read it immediately. The one of the difficulties nowadays is that there's so much digital. Everything is digital.
Yeah.
So that's the most important. I think that's one of the challenges, that you need to make everything accessible.
Yeah.
Also the invoice you send to a person, also, the call center, the services, the main, let's say in case of a bank, you log in, the apps, but also the marketing materials. So that's one of the challenges. And I see that that's not always the case. The main procedure is accessible, but then the marketing stuff, the things around it, there's still a way to go.
Yeah, definitely. And how you're familiar with the WCAG as well? The WCAG accessibility guidelines. How important do you think the WCAG success criteria are in terms of do you experience a notable difference, for example, websites and apps following the WCAG successfully?
I think you can see it immediately, I think.
Yeah.
When you go to a website, let's say you go to a web shop, you can see it immediately if the designers really took care for the WCAG in comparison to people, they just do something, especially for the screen reader, the headers. If you see on a website the header level 3 and 5 or 6 and everything is a mix, then you're like, oh, they did not really test this. You have also two things. You have the WCAG, the technical norm, but you have also the fact, did you test with the end users from the beginning? And most of the time, if organizations really take accessibility seriously, then they do both. They look at the technical norm, but they also test with the end users, and you can see it immediately.
Yeah. So there's a notable difference indeed. Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. Yeah, now that the thing you mentioned, there's everything now is online. There's a lot of applications, a lot of websites, and everything needs to be accessible. And there's also, I think, the challenge for most organizations, most big organizations, because they have so much systems, so much applications, so much to do. And of course, big organizations, they also have legacy systems, and these are harder to make accessible and stay accessible in the longer run. How would you say this? How would you say is a good strategy to deal with this?
Oh, that's a nice question. Yeah, myself, I studied IT in the beginning. Maybe that's also nice. Like 30 years ago, I worked for a CRM company making CRM software. And I remember I was working for the call center. And when I was driving here together with my wife here, I was thinking, at that time, with the incident system, did we have a drop down where one of the options was, this is an accessibility issue? We did not have that. We had performance issues, we had security issues, but accessibility was not in the game, to say. And I think that's the main difference with, let's say, 25 years ago. The end users, they're more diverse. Before you call with your telephone, the call center, and that's it. But right now you need to do it yourself. So instead of having a call center with 1,000 users, you have, for example, in Holland, 18 million and possible end users, young, old, male, female, with abilities, without abilities. And if you then see how many people have a disability or that have problems in the digital world, it's 1 out of 4. That's millions of people in the Netherlands that have a kind of a problem, a challenge, let's say, to use systems. And for organizations, you need to acknowledge that. And you also need to make sure that the 1 out of those millions of users, they will never all be able to use the system. You always will have people that are not able to use the system, so you will have to look for an alternative. Let's say a deaf person, he will like to use a chat function, but in your chat you cannot say, please call the call center, because a deaf person cannot call the call center. So the challenge is, I think, and for the strategies for organizations, is to really acknowledge that you will need multiple channels, I think. And of course, you need to try to focus on the cheapest challenge, the cheapest channels. So most of the people can make use of it. But then, if that's not possible, you need to have a second way of achieving your goal. Yeah, an alternative.
An alternative, a text format or something else. Yeah.
I think if I can add something to it as well, what I see nowadays is it's all nice. You have a lot of apps. There are two things. What I also want to mention is those apps are getting more sophisticated. You also see with banking apps in the beginning, you can log in, you can see your products, your accounts, your transactions. But now those apps, designers put more and more functionalities in it. You have a pop-up from the marketing. Oh, did you know, take care about phishing, or did you read your messages? So those apps are getting more rich with functionalities, but also more complex. And that's maybe a bit of a trap for the designers. Like, there's so many bells and whistles on the car, so you don't see the car anymore. And then people will probably abandon and say, oh, yeah, this app is too complex for me. So I think maybe that's the main thing we design mostly. Make it simple, so people will keep on using the apps. And what I also see, especially for the government, apps are so scattered. Or there's so many sites, there's so many apps. Try to work together, and for me, my ultimate goal would be that I have one app, my government, and I see all my stuff in there, all my communication with the government. That would be really nice. But at this point of time, there's so many different sites, and every site for me is a learning curve. I need to learn to use it, because not all the screens, of course, look the same. Functionalities differ. If you have less sites, or work more together in a kind of standard way of having your site, then it's much more easy for the end user.
Yeah, agreed. I think especially in the Dutch government, it's really they create a lot of different websites, a lot of different apps. I can see that they try to do the best thing, but it's really hard if it's so scattered. Indeed, there's so much different applications. I have to say, going indeed 30 years back, your experience in IT. You also worked for Oracle. You worked for a CRM, a company. How was accessibility dealt with at the time? How and do you see a big difference now with today?
Yeah, I think in preparation of this podcast, I was like thinking, well, when did I start working on something that is user friendly? And and when I was studying, my first thesis was to make a user friendly system for a laboratory on the University of Ghent, but it was all mainframe based. So at that time, you did not have a mouse. You had only two colors with your screen. And then you had to build a system that is really user friendly. That's the first beginning, but that has nothing to do with accessibility. Although, if you only have, what you see is what you get. It did not exist at that point in time. You only have the terminal, and you had to deal with it. So that was my first experience. Then when I was working later on the field of CRM, we did not have to deal so much as well with accessibility, because people, let's say you have the telecom organization, your local telecom provider, you will call them. The internet, the self-service thing only started, I think, a little bit around the year 2000. I think 2000. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Especially before you had to dial in to get an internet connection. But then you had the ISDN or the other routers that you were always online. Yeah, that makes it much more easy. And I saw then in the field of CRM that instead of the call center apps, you had the self-service apps, the configuration management that you can build your own product. I remember with the CRM, you had a 360-degree view of the customer. I think with the self-service, organizations put a mirror in front of the end user. So yeah, let's fix it yourself. Go to the website, design your own product. Let's say with a subscription for a telephone. You can say, what phone do I want? How many minutes do I want to call? Or how many SMS bundles? So the organization said to the customer, do it yourself. But then again, they forgot that those people are not people that are 25 years old, young, and can use a modern laptop. No, I mean, you have also people with old systems, with old laptops. Yeah, again, a whole diversity of people. At that time, in the year 2000, accessibility was we were nowhere. And maybe I was also in my bubble as an IT guy. You were happy that things are working. I remember we were an American company. They were happy that it works for 5 users. And then suddenly in Europe, we had 800 users. You were more busy with accessibility, not with the performance issues, than with really accessibility. And I'm wondering when it really started. That's a good question. I think, again, Windows started in 95. Then you had Apple with the touchscreens. Before I had the Nokia, regular Nokia thing. And then I was like, oh man, iPhone, is that something for me? How can I use?
No physical
I need to
buttons.
feel.
No physical buttons anymore.
No physical buttons. I want to feel a keyboard to use it. And then you saw the screen, and it was like, hey, but this is funny because I can, even if I don't see the screen, I can move my finger on the screen, and it tells me what is under my finger. And then also there you had to build trust with the end users that it will be okay. The Apple made it really nice. The voiceover works fine. It always works good. And then once you have trust, people will invest efforts to learn their assistive technologies, and they can really use all kinds of apps. And I met a lot of people, and when they saw the iPhone, they said, wow, a world opens for me. I can read newspapers, I can call people, I can send text messages, even by talking, doing a dictation, those kind of things. So that's what happened also with Apple and with all the touchscreen things. Although right now, it looks like everything needs to be touchscreen. And that's okay for me, but in certain cases, let's go back to the banking things. You have your payment terminals in a restaurant. Sometimes they're with touchscreens. And it's like, but how can I enter my PIN code on a touchscreen with voiceover and nobody can hear what is my PIN code? And I'm like, then I feel that they're exaggerating a little bit. Like for a device that is specifically made to enter a code in all private ways, you should not use a touchscreen, just do the physical buttons. And also there, what I see is that for people that are blind, okay, obviously that's a problem. But for older people, a touchscreen is not so easy. If you need to enter a 4-digit code and you're shaking, your hand is a bit shaking, and you're in a restaurant, it's maybe a bit cold outside, very often it goes wrong.
Because also the responsiveness of touching the exact numbers is different, of course, than with real physical buttons. I see. I also noticed that touching a screen versus touching a button is something different.
And especially after a couple of beers, it's even more worse. But I mean, that's a bit the journey. And I think, as I see before, we had to deal with internationalization issues, performance issues. Right now, you need to deal with accessibility issues. As a designer or as a developer, you have a lot of challenges, but it's really nice. I think it's nice if I meet people. Lately, I met a woman who was 92 years old, and he said, how do you deal with your banks? How do you pay in the shop? And then she said, I learned from my daughter, I need to use this phone. She probably didn't know that she was using an iPhone, and then press this button, and then they look at the screen, and then they hold it against the payment terminal. It said, have a look. If we build all accessible apps and people really have the trust, again, it's also the trust that it will work. They take the courage to use their system. Then yeah, it's really nice to see that you can just participate.
Yeah, definitely. To me, is what the internet is about. Making lives easier, making lives easier for people around the world in the Netherlands, and also making things more efficient, making things easier, and for everyone. Yeah, not excluding anyone.
But I think there's still a way to go. I was just looking at some some shops, let's say some web shops for fashion. And then you see, oh man, it's so complex for us really to order something. Again, lately there was like there was a temporary marketing campaign, I think, and there was a banner on the screen saying 20% discount, or you still have 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Yeah.
And every 2 seconds, I kept on hearing with my voiceover message, 20%. So I was not able to continue. And I'm like, how come they did not test this? And you're losing a lot of revenue, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think also, especially for people that are the more senior, elderly people, they have plenty of time. They probably also have plenty of money, more money than us, so to spend. So make sure your internet, your business is good, accessible, and are really fun. Sometimes people are asking me, what is a good website? And then I'm always referring to my local utility company for the water. They have a fun website because I don't need to spend too much time on it. I just can submit my meter stand and maybe it's easy. And then after 1 minute or after a few minutes, I know already what I get back for money or what I need to pay. And those are the funny sites. And also, say, banking sites for public transportation. If they're easy to use, you will like them and enjoy them and use them. Where's my train? Is there a delay? How much do I need to pay? And that's a nice point. Websites that are difficult, you will not come back.
No.
I think you have the negativity bias. I'm sure you know that. If you have a negative experience, it takes a lot of effort to gain that customer back. I thought even up to 10 times, if you have one negative experience, you need 10 positive experiences to bring the balance on the same way, to forget the bad experience. And I think even for people with a disability, it's probably more. It's going to be more. But also, if you're, in my case, once I found a good shop, I will stick to it. I will say, hey, this one is an easy shop. I invested my energy in learning this app. I love it. Let's go back. Let's have a look if I can. Have those companies like Bol or Amazon. Yeah, if one of the both would be my favorite, I would always go back to the same one.
Yeah, because also the effort of going somewhere else and the learning curve then you jump into it's not worth the effort most of the time.
It's not worth the effort for the 50-cent discount you get there.
No. Oh, that's good to know. That's and very logical as well. Yeah, of course. And this trend to more self-service. So we were talking about. It's a trend that keeps on going, I think, as well. And if I look to for example, the banking services, indeed starting with the adoption of the internet, more and more, you see for a bank less physical offices in close to home. So less physical offices and more online presence, more online self-service. That is the trend that is, I think, still ongoing, and also the vision of most of the banks in the Netherlands, but also around the world. And this self-service online trend makes it also that the apps need to hold more functionality, because if you want to self-service everything, there are a lot of options involved, And with this more online trend, more self-service trend, comes a lot of accessibility hurdles to take. Potentially, a lot of barriers are set. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But,
I can also see that now with the app, with the bank I'm in, it's not only your account, it's also insurance, it's also your mortgage. And what is important for me is that the look and feel is everywhere the same. You know, I don't know.
It's predictable.
That it's predictable. Amounts are always pronounced in the same way. The way of navigating is always the same. If you use buttons, then use buttons everywhere for certain functionalities. Maybe a better example is those, how do you call that, accordion menus. Did you click on a paragraph and then it expands
opens
and collapses?
Yeah.
If you use that, use it everywhere, and then don't use another method, let's say to make tab pages or those kind of things. The important is to be consistent, to put the buttons in an app always on the same way. Let's say or go back and continue, those kind of things. Use always also the same terminology. Sometimes they say cancel, sometimes they say go back, sometimes they say ready. Use the same terms.
Yeah. This is also, of course, a success criteria in the WCAG. Ability. There are different success criteria. I think that have guidelines for this. So that's I think that's good. That's good. So these are really important. That's where you can see also the WCAG takes care of this. And if you follow the WCAG, then you have a nice base layer of accessibility. The other part is, of course, also you mentioned this, is testing with the end user, and the importance of doing this, including them earlier in the development cycle, but also when the product is online, keep testing with the end user. And also include people with disabilities in this group. I would say.
I think also nice to know is that I'm also part of a test in the test how do you say, group who can use the beta versions of my banking app. So I'm in the test flight app. I receive all the beta updates, and immediately I can already check. I can just upgrade my app and then test it on the flight, to say. But then if you have an emergent issue, I remember maybe I don't know how many years ago, let's say 5 years ago, there was a major issue that all the amounts in the banking app were pronounced with a kind of technical term in front of it. I forgot really what it was, but it was like open brackets, and then you hear the amount, and then VoiceOver will say close brackets. So it's like, oh, what happens here? Maybe there was a system change or a technology change, but it made that all the amounts were pronounced wrongly. And because that I'm using the test flight app, I was able to signal that and say, hey, you cannot go live because the VoiceOver does not work at all with those amounts. It's not usable for us. So maybe for a very small group of users, it's a really important bug. Maybe for the bank as a whole, they might say, this is just a P3 standard bug. No, it's a critical bug. If you cannot read the amounts in an app, it's a critical bug. So I think that's also maybe one of the advice I can give to the audience is really have a look at how you register your accessibility bugs and how you prioritize them. And the prioritization for a developer might be totally different than the one for an end user. I think another example what I had was to register for a bank account, a commercial bank account. Everything went fine except to accept the terms and conditions. There was like a checkbox. You had to click with the mouse. Of course, I cannot use the mouse. So I could not complete my transaction, to say. So accessibility, you need to do it from the beginning to the start, to the end. If you miss one thing, then your system is unfortunately not useful.
It's also what makes it hard to get right, because in a big organization like a bank or like other big organizations, you have multiple teams that are developing different parts of the end web application. And for example, this pop-up model or this checkbox might have been under developed by another team, and the first part by a different team. This team can do really well on accessibility and make a very accessible app, but then comes the next part, and this team maybe is lacking a little bit, and then they miss one thing, and the whole flow that you in this case want to complete is not accessible anymore, and that's good. It's really sometimes really hard to get right, and I also see the challenges in this in big organizations.
How
Yeah,
are we going to fix that, Tim?
yeah. The only thing, well, there are a few things, of course, that you can do, but in the end, it really comes down to these what teams could perceive as small things. Very small changes can make a big difference in terms of accessibility.
Yeah.
And taking care of these details is really important.
Yeah, and I think especially developers need to know what is accessibility from the beginning. It's a matter of being professional.
Mm-hmm.
I always compare it with a painter, somebody painting your house. The door, let's say your front door, he's going to start good by removing the old paint. He's not going to start painting immediately. He will do it from the beginning. And if you do it good in the beginning, it will be less expensive than if you have to redo it to run against bugs.
Yeah.
So if those developers know what is accessibility, how do you build accessible stuff, then you win already.
Yeah.
And I think what you also need, is within an organization, especially the big ones, is an ambassador to stand on the side and look, because I think as a developer, I remember in my time as well, you're you're in the app and you tend to forget very fast that who are your end users. You're happy that the data is there, the database works and everything, but then the end users need to use it as well. And if you have an ambassador within the company that can keep an eye on, hey guys, there are too many accessibility bugs. Let's clean it up. Fix it.
One big ambassador and a lot of smaller ambassadors as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because I also with the accessibility, so some bugs are really small, and you can say, there's a little bug. It's okay. I can get around it with my screen reader. They're like kind of beauty bugs. Yeah. But if you have 25 beauty bugs in your app, there's no beauty anymore left over. And it's important to clean up those small issues. I'm sure, let's say a skip link with an English name in a Dutch app, it's easy to fix. You just need to translate the tag and it's fixed. If companies, let's say, do once a year a general cleanup, let's say like a general household cleanup in springtime, let's clean up all the accessibility bugs, the little ones. That would be nice. And then, of course, those critical ones, make sure they're fixed as quick as possible. I know in the company, in the city where I'm living, there's an accessibility issue with the parking app where I can register my visitors. They say, we will fix it. The next cycle for the update is within 6 months. So I'm like, I need to wait 6 months to be able to use this system. And they say, yes, it's our supplier. But that's not acceptable, of course.
No, of course not. And this program you described with your banking app and being able to get the beta releases, and also you are able to let them know about bugs, about critical bugs, or about. And is this program? Is this a specific program based on accessibility, or is it for a more broader test group?
You mean the test flight? Or?
Yeah.
I think the test flight is used by a group of plenty of end users from the bank.
Okay.
But I'm just a few from them with a disability. But I can also submit my bugs in there.
Okay.
But what I think a tip what I want to give is, or an advice is that when people with disabilities submit bugs, they put a lot of effort in it, much more than people without disabilities. So make sure you give feedback to them, like, oh, we saw your bug, it will be fixed in a month, 2 months. It's all fine, as long as you get feedback. Otherwise, you throw your issues in this kind of black hole, and it's like, oh yeah, why would I invest my time and efforts in my supplier when I don't hear anything back? So really take it as gold. Like, oh man, we have somebody who really wants to test for free. Let's say, your customers that give feedback. It's free feedback. Take advantage of it. And you will make sure if your app is accessible for people with a disability, it will be also accessible for everybody.
Yeah, I think a good way of letting testing, giving the end users the opportunity to give feedback directly from within your application. And if this feature is being taken care of and being handled, and that if the feedback is coming in and it's handled well, and there's a follow-up, it can be really valuable strategy of receiving feedback, but also receiving potential bugs. So I think some organizations do this better than others.
Yeah, and I see also some companies, if you look at the bottom of a website, you see the privacy statement. It might be nice if you have an accessibility statement
as well.
I see companies, where was it lately? Oh, it was a utility company for the electricity thing, where you had like a vulnerability statement. Like, if you see that there is a problem with our systems, please let us know, we pay you. If there is security, if there is a chance that the system can be hacked, or there's a privacy leakage. Yeah, there's a nice statement there. If you find something, let us know. It will be also nice for accessibility issues, that where to drop your issue. And a call center for a bank has mainly to deal with customers that have issues with their transactions, with their finance, or you give them advice, mortgage. And then that one single accessibility bug that ends up in the same call center, then you're wondering what will happen with it. Is the call center or the call center agents skilled also in dealing with people with a disability? And if there is a technical issue, what is the process of handling of the incident?
Yes. Yeah. It's so good follow-up, a good program surrounding accessibility. And indeed, like you said, there is security, for example, security vulnerability. Most of the times there are programs and companies say, if you find a security vulnerability, you let us know, we will pay you a big amount. Why not the same for accessibility?
If you find, right? I'm working right now on in Holland here. Some organizations will get together to build a KIDO. It's code inclusive digital design, Antwerp in Dutch. So where we put experience together from all kinds of companies, schools, designers, and advocacy organizations in one document, where you can see, hey, start testing. If you design within your design process, make use of those experts by experience, those end users with a disability in the beginning, at the end. But also, what are the conditions of getting a blind or a deaf person into your organization? Don't expect it like today that I'm coming here with my own car. Unfortunately, I don't have a self-driving car. So you always need to look, is the location accessible?
Yeah.
If you have somebody in a wheelchair, is there an elevator? Those kind of things. How do you talk? Let's say you have somebody with a cognitive disability. Yeah, consider that maybe they need more time, put them on their ease. those kind of things. And that's the part of the Kido that, within your process, you test enough in the beginning, at the end, and in the middle. You have the conditions for, the testers that come to your organization, and also your organization itself. Is it ready for inclusive design? And that's also important. So you have the organization, the end users, and your process of design.
And this program, the Kido program, I saw something about it indeed, that it's being launched. How does the process look like? How would it be executed, for example?
I think the document is mainly a guideline.
Mm-hmm.
You can read and use it next to your own organization. Of course, every organization has a different design process, I think. So you need to look into the document and see, okay, there's also self-assessment. Do we get in touch with, imagine you have a new product. Are you going to develop it first and build it and then test it at the end with accessibility? Okay, you have already one step. You tested it at the end. But why did you not consider your end users in the beginning when you look into IDs, if you start looking into the problem? What is really the problem? I have an example here with the garbage app, and then it has been renewed, and it's like, you get a message from the government, it has been renewed, it's great, it looks really great. And then when I look at the app, I'm like, hey, did you really test it with the end users? Because maybe it looks great, but it does not work at all because it's not understandable. And especially to get the less technical WCAG issues fixed. You have the more understandable, that's the third principle of the WCAG, to make your apps understandable. The understandability, I hope that's the right English word, you really get it from the beginning when you start in a really early stage. What do you really want as an end user? An example what I had lately was with another bank, the saving of money. You have you can make some saving goals, and making the saving goals was fine. But then it was like, I want to set within my app a kind of rule that I can save every month €100 for my holiday. And then the way the bank implemented was totally different than what I was expecting. And I'm like, if you consider those end users really in the beginning, hey, we're going to build an app and our goal is to make little saving goals, and then, check that you can transfer some money from one account to the other. And then if you ask the end users, how would you think, how would you like that it has been developed? How do we need to look like, And if you research that with, let's say, 10 or 20 people with different abilities, then you will get more out of it. And then you will run, you will avoid the issue that your app is not understandable. So do it in the beginning, and not only at the beginning, also in the middle and at the end. And you see also that with physical accessibility, let's just say the ones on the road or for buildings. If you do it only in the beginning, we have a nice plan, we're going to make it accessible, and then 2 weeks later everybody forgets it, and you have something that is not accessible. So again, do it in every stage. And I think that's the major challenge for I think designers, that you cannot keep on forgetting it.
No, indeed. Testing with end users and also integrating it in earlier stages is sometimes also hard, because you don't always have a group of people available, especially people with disabilities. It's sometimes harder to connect with them offline as well as online. And how would you say it's do you have some tips, for example, for organizations who want to start testing earlier in the development cycle, and also include the end user in this testing process?
I think in every country, I'm sure you have some how do you call it, advocacy organizations for the blind, for the deaf, for people with language problems. I would say get in touch with them and ask, hey, we're building an app. we would like to get in touch with some respondents. Do you have some blind people or some deaf people or people in a wheelchair who can help us? You can start from that. And I don't think you don't need to do everything at once, but you can grow into it. Good that you test it already at the end, but better to maybe in the next phase, you try to, on the next project, you try to do it earlier. Again, those organizations, you have plenty of disability organizations. Try to get in touch with them. They can give advice.
Yeah.
And I think you also have special research organizations that are doing customer satisfaction surveys, but also some tests. Yeah, have a look for those kind of companies. But then emphasize that really we want to test based on accessibility. So that we need to have some people with a disability to be tested with.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Thank you. And before we round up, do you have something to say to the audience that you feel like will serve them well in terms of building better accessible web applications?
Yeah, I think accessibility is not so difficult. I think
No.
it's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's especially a lot. There are all little things, but keep on getting people involved. And it's not only about software developers, but it's also about content providers. Your web, how do you call it? Your web
Writers,
your copywriters,
designers.
everybody, but also management. They need to be aware that building accessible applications will be beneficial for everybody. And it doesn't need to cost more. If you do it in the beginning good, then it's just done. It will not cost additional. You just need to do it good in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's my major thing. And be aware that we all will get old. We all will get in one way or another a disability. Especially if we get 80, 90, maybe your brain starts working differently than before. And if you then have good comprehensive or understandable applications, you can still enjoy those apps for a very long time.
Definitely. Thank you, Rik.
Okay.
If people want to find you and follow you online, where can they find you?
Yeah, the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. And my name is Rik Wouters, RIKWOUTERS. And I'm sure you can tag me on the LinkedIn post of the podcast.
Yeah, as well. And for all the people listening and watching, thanks again. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing and supporting us in that way. And of course, any comments or any feedback is always welcome. Thank you again, Rik, for taking the time to speak and to come on the podcast. All the best, and thanks again.